At her birthday dinner, my girlfriend smirked and shouted, "You're lucky I even date you." Everyone laughed. I just breathed in, got up, and said, "Thanks for the wake up." Then I walked out without a goodbye. Hours later, her best friend messaged me, "Want to hear what she said after you left?" I answered, "Yeah." What she told me made my hands go ice cold. My entire world shattered in front of 15 people. One second, it was my ex-girlfriend's birthday, candles glowing on the cake, and the next, a single, cutting remark plunged me into a public humiliation so deep I still feel it. The air in that fancy downtown restaurant was thick with chatter and the clinking of glasses, warm from the low lighting. I was Daniel, the guy who always held the camera, who drove everyone home, who listened more than he spoke. I never made a scene. But that night, silence screamed. See, I met Chloe 3 years ago at a game night. She was this whirlwind of witty energy, always making people laugh. I was a systems analyst, quieter, more comfortable with spreadsheets than people. But she gravitated toward me. 3 months later, we were a couple. It felt like a dream. She made me feel alive, like I'd finally stepped out of the background. But over time, small things chipped away. Subtle digs in front of friends, jokes that landed a little too hard. "You're lucky I like nerds," she'd say with a playful shove. Or, "That shirt's cute. Looks like something my dad would wear." I'd laugh it off. "You just do, right? Don't ruin the mood." Most times, it didn't feel cruel. Chloe poked fun at everyone. But sometimes, her tone would shift, and it would sting, just a little longer than it should. I blamed my own insecurity. Her 27th birthday arrived. She booked a private room, velvet seats, dimmed lights, the kind of place where dessert cost more than my weekly groceries. She looked stunning in a black dress, gold earrings, nails perfect. Everyone turned when she walked in. I felt a surge of pride just standing next to her. Her friends, her coworkers, even her Instagram famous buddies, filled the long table. Her parents arrived, looking like they'd walked out of a catalog. They'd never quite warmed to me, probably because I wasn't a finance bro with a chiseled jaw. I'd picked up the custom chocolate ganache cake earlier and paid for dinner in advance. I just wanted her to feel special. I believe when you love someone, you show up. The dinner was a blur of inside jokes and conversations about people I didn't know. Every time I tried to chime in, the topic shifted. Chloe thrived in that world. I was just visiting. She introduced me twice as my Daniel, like I was a prize. Her friend Sarah asked what I did, then said, "Wow, I'd fall asleep at my desk," and everyone laughed, including Chloe. I laughed too. What else could I do? Then came the moment. Dessert was served. The lights dimmed, candles flickered on the cake, everyone sang. Chloe looked radiant, blowing out the candles in one perfect breath. Her mom toasted her, talking about destiny and greatness. I leaned over, whispered, "Happy birthday, babe." Chloe smiled, a teasing glint in her eyes. And then, as if rehearsed, she turned to me and said, loud enough for everyone, "You're lucky I even date you." She laughed. A loud, sharp laugh. Her friends joined in. Even her mom let out a tight chuckle. The whole table rippled with amusement. I just sat there, stunned. My mouth opened, but nothing came out. I scanned the faces. Some looked awkward, shifted in their seats. No one said anything. No one stood up for me. Especially not Chloe. Something inside me snapped. Not a dramatic crack, but the soft, final severance of a wire stretched too thin. I pushed my chair back slowly. My heart hammered, but my hands were steady. I stood up, didn't yell, didn't flip the table. I didn't even look her in the eye. I just said, "Thanks for the reminder," and walked out. No goodbye, no scene, just gone. The cold night air was a shock on the sidewalk. My hands shook as I walked, my phone buzzing. I didn't check it. I needed air, space to process. 3 hours later, I was home, replaying the moment. Her laugh, their laughs. I didn't know what hurt more, her words or their silence. Then my phone lit up again. It was Maya, Chloe's best friend. We weren't close, but we had a decent rapport. She texted one sentence, "Do you want to know what she told everyone after you left?" My chest tightened. My thumb hovered, then I typed, "Sure." The three dots appeared instantly. Then her reply came, and my hands went cold. I stared at the screen, Maya's message glowing in the dark. My gut knew before my brain did. I hadn't even read the full message, but my stomach nodded. The preview hinted at it. My mind raced. Dramatic, embarrassed, too sensitive, made it about me, or worse. Maybe she'd planned something more deliberate than a careless comment. With a dry swallow, I opened it. She said, "Well, looks like he finally got the hint. I've been trying to get him to break up with me for months." I read it twice, 3 times. The words didn't make sense. My brain stalled. Then it hit me. This wasn't just a joke gone too far. She hadn't just made a cruel comment. She admitted she wanted me gone. And she'd weaponized my humiliation to get it. My walking out hadn't been a surprise. It was exactly what she wanted. I didn't respond to Maya. What do you say to that? I sat there for an hour, maybe 2. The anger started to bubble. Not rage, just a slow, burning heat. My ears felt warm. My vision tunneled. All the small things flashed back. The comments, the jabs, how she rarely used my name, how she forgot our anniversary. The realization that I had seen it coming and did nothing. The next few days were a blur. Chloe didn't call or text. After 2 years of being in sync, I was erased. I kept checking my phone like an idiot, hoping for an apology, a defense, anything. But she'd said it all that night, hadn't she? He finally got the hint. Maya messaged again. "Hey, just wanted to check in." That wasn't cool what she did. I didn't laugh, for the record. "Thanks," I replied. Then she asked, "Can I ask something kind of personal?" "Sure. Did you know she was seeing someone else?" I stopped breathing. "What?" "Sorry, I thought maybe you knew. There's this guy from her office, Ethan. I'm not sure if anything physical happened, but she's been hanging out with him a lot. Dinners, drinks, work trips that weren't really work." "You're saying she cheated?" "I'm saying she emotionally checked out a long time ago and didn't have the guts to say it." My jaw clenched. That slow burning anger surged. My mind tried to rationalize. Rumor, Maya's wrong, I misunderstood. But no, this was a pattern. It all made too much sense. The late nights, the last-minute plan changes, how she dressed up more for work meetings than our actual dates. I needed to talk to her, not to scream, but to confirm what I already knew. I texted her, "Can we talk?" No response. The next morning, nothing. But then I saw it, a tagged photo on social media. Chloe sitting next to some guy, Ethan, at a rooftop bar. Drinks in hand, that head-tilted smile. The caption, "Monday nights." Comments full of fire emojis. My stomach turned. I clicked on his profile. Ethan Grant, marketing director, same firm. Half his pictures were from team-building events in Sonoma or Chicago. The rest were gym selfies. And there she was in more of them than I expected, a glass raised, a hand on his shoulder. I didn't need confirmation. I had it. But like a fool, I still hoped she'd explain. On Friday, 5 days after the dinner, I got a text. "Hey, sorry it's been a weird week. I think we need to talk, but maybe not in person." I replied, "Are you seeing Ethan?" She took an hour to respond. It's complicated. Just those 2 words. Not no. Not you're wrong. Just, it's complicated. Something snapped in me then. Not broken, just restructured. Whatever hope I had left for us, whatever pieces of me were still waiting for this to work out, got buried under that single sentence. I didn't respond. I was back in my apartment, too many memories, not enough explanations. That weekend, I finally opened the drawer where I'd kept the envelope. Chloe's birthday gift. I'd planned to give it to her after dinner, once we were alone, make it personal. Inside was a weekend getaway package, 2 nights at a secluded spa resort in the mountains. Booked and paid for. A note. Just us, no phones, no cameras, just peace. I held it for a long time. Then I tore it in half. Again and again. That should have been the end. But life has a way of pulling you back in. The next morning, I got a call. From my mom. Chloe had stopped by the house. My mom is about appearances, my dad, a man of few words. My mom adored Chloe, said she had ambition code 4. She fits the image I want to project. So when Chloe showed up unannounced, smiling, bottle of wine in hand, my mom welcomed her like nothing happened. She told me she misses you, my mom said. She made a mistake, thought you were drifting apart. I just listened. She says she wants to talk face to face. I swallowed hard. Did she tell you what happened at the dinner? A pause. She said you overreacted. Of course she did. Did she tell you about Ethan? Another, longer pause. She said he's a colleague. That nothing ever happened. I wanted to scream. She lied, I said instead. But that wasn't the breaking point. Not yet. The breaking point came a week later from my younger brother Alex. He's 24, smart, but always chasing shortcuts. He'd had a different business idea every 6 months, never sticking with anything. I'd helped him out financially a few times. He texted me a picture. Chloe and him at a party, arms around each other, captioned, "Power couple energy." At first, I thought it was a joke. Old photo, photoshopped. But then I saw the comments. Wait, what? Bro, Daniel's ex. And Alex had replied, wasn't serious anyway. That was it. Everything tilted. I called him, straight to voicemail. Called again. Then a text, don't be weird about it. It's not what it looks like. I typed what? He replied, she's single. You're single. Chill. That was the breaking point. Not the dinner. Not Chloe. Not even Ethan. It was Alex, my own brother, standing next to the girl who humiliated me, who cheated, who manipulated everyone, and smiling like he'd won. He hadn't won. Not yet. But I decided I was done being quiet. Done being the guy who walked away. For the first time in years, I was completely alone. Not physically. But emotionally, I was a ghost. I moved through life like watching someone else live it. I stopped checking social media, stopped responding to group chats, even stopped going to the gym. Too much noise in my head, nowhere to put it. The fallout from Chloe and Alex hit harder than expected. It wasn't just betrayal. It was disorientation. Like living in a house I thought I built, only to find the walls swapped while I slept. Chloe mocked me publicly, then spun it as a joke. Alex, my own blood, didn't even apologize. Just a shrug in emoji form. I avoided family. My mom sent passive texts. Just come for dinner, sweetie. We don't have to talk about anything serious. But I knew what she meant. Let's pretend it didn't happen. At work, I faked it. Smiled, hit deadlines, took sick days, staring at the ceiling. I told myself the hurt would fade. But the silence hurt more. Then the betrayal. No one reached out. I'd spent years supporting others, and when I needed someone, I got air. The rock bottom came 2 weeks later. Takeout eaten from the container, mess on the coffee table. I was on the couch, watching a show I didn't care about when I got an alert. A Venmo request from Alex. $160. The note, Ubers and drinks. Chloe's idea. Winky face. I stared at it. My heart might have stopped. Not because of the money. It was the note, the smugness, the cruelty. He was rubbing it in. Proud of it. He wanted to see how far he could push. For a moment, I wanted to confront him, yell, break something. But I realized that's what he wanted. He wanted me off balance, furious. If I reacted, in his warped world, I lost. So I didn't respond. I blocked him. Deleted the request. Turned off my phone and sat in the dark, staring at my reflection in the black TV screen. That night, I slept for 12 hours. The next morning, something had shifted. It wasn't a dramatic, I'm going to turn my life around moment. It was quieter, more practical. I cleaned my apartment. Threw out Chloe's half-empty shampoo, boxed up her hoodie for donation. Changed my bed sheets, bought new ones, dark green, thick cotton. They felt like armor. I made myself a real breakfast. Eggs, toast, coffee. Didn't even look at my phone until after I'd eaten. For the first time in weeks, I felt awake. That day, I made a list. Not a revenge plan, just a list of things I'd let slide while with Chloe. Rejoin a gym. Reconnect with my college friends, Josh and Andy. Revamp my resume. Take a solo weekend trip. Start that budgeting app one kept putting off. It wasn't a long list, but it was mine. And for the first time in a while, that felt like enough. Reaching out to Josh and Andy was awkward at first. Hey, I've been kind of MIA. Went through some stuff. Would be cool to catch up. They responded instantly. They'd assumed I was just busy. We talked for 4 hours, barely mentioning Chloe. We talked about work, funny Reddit posts, college dreams. Josh was building a home music studio. Andy was training for a triathlon. I hung up with an ache in my chest, not sadness, but the realization of how far I drifted from myself. The next few weeks were a slow build. Morning walks with a podcast. A new, smaller gym. The side project became my therapy. I dusted off the budgeting app idea. Clean interface, tracking daily expenses without the bloat. I called it Sense. A little cheesy, but it felt right. I posted a prototype online for feedback. People liked it. It wasn't about a full business yet, but the support gave me a quiet thrill I hadn't felt in years. It reminded me I had value beyond being Chloe's boyfriend or Alex's boring brother. I had skills, ideas, drive. About a month after that horrible dinner, a recruiter called. Small tech firm, project lead for internal systems. Someone had recommended me. I never found out who. The interview went well. I got the offer a week later. Better pay, better hours, more freedom to build. I said yes. I moved into a new apartment, just a few blocks away, but it felt like crossing a border. More light, hardwood floors, no ghosts. I bought a real bookshelf, adopted a scruffy mutt named Leo who snored at the foot of my bed. Beneath all this, something else was brewing. Not resentment, not vengeance. Clarity. I wasn't looking to get even. I was past that. But a stone still sat in my chest. The way they both got to walk away unscathed, laughing, smirking, untouched, like my pain was just a byproduct of their entertainment. That wasn't okay. And I wasn't going to let it stay that way. Not out of spite, but out of principle. When someone burns you, it's easy to get caught in the flames. But sometimes the best revenge isn't fire. It's patience. I was done being passive. It was time to start watching, not waiting. I didn't wake up with a genius revenge blueprint. It started slow, fragments of curiosity, a question here, a connection there. Gradually, it formed. A setup isn't always about explosions. Sometimes it's about information, understanding what really happened. You can't take your power back if you don't know where it was stolen. I didn't just want peace, I wanted clarity, truth. And if the opportunity came, I wanted them both to understand I wasn't the same Daniel who quietly slipped out of that dinner. I wanted them to feel what it was like to have the ground pulled out from under them. Not by force, but by fact. It started with Maya. We hadn't talked since her last message, but she kept watching my stories, Leo at the park, late-night coffee runs, the app taking shape. I knew she was still curious. One evening, I sent her a message, "Hey, free for coffee sometime?" She replied 10 minutes later, "Thought you'd never ask." We met at a quiet cafe. No cameras, no Chloe. Just two people with lattes and an unspoken understanding. She didn't waste time. "I'm just going to say it," she leaned in, pulling back her hair. "I'm sorry for what happened." I knew she was getting mean, but I didn't know how far it had gone. I nodded. "You didn't laugh." "I didn't," she said, "but I didn't say anything either, and I should have." Her honesty disarmed me. I wasn't there to guilt her. "Can I ask you something weird?" I said. She raised an eyebrow. "Try me. What do you know about her and my brother?" Maya looked uncomfortable, tapping her cup. "It's messy," she said. "I don't know everything, but they started talking more after the breakup. She told people it was innocent, that Alex was checking in. Then she showed up to a party with him, and everyone just accepted it." I nodded. "Do you think it started before the breakup?" "I'd bet money on it," she said. "Chloe's not the type to wait around. She was emotionally out the door months before that dinner. You could see it in how she treated you. She was trying to push you out without being the bad guy." I swallowed the bitter taste. "You still talk to her?" I asked. "Barely. She doesn't like being around people who challenge her version of the story." I raised an eyebrow. "What's her version?" Maya gave a small, bitter laugh. "That you were clingy, controlling, jealous. That she tried to let you down easy, but you made it difficult." I let out a breath and looked away. Maya leaned in again. "But Daniel, no one really believes it. I mean, some of her friends do, sure. But the ones who've known her long enough? They know she rewrites reality whenever it suits her. It was validating, a relief. But it didn't answer the bigger question. Why Alex? Maya must have seen the look in my eyes. You really want to understand this, don't you? I need to, I said. She hesitated, then pulled out her phone. There's something I didn't tell you. I wasn't going to get involved, but I think you deserve to see it. She opened her gallery and handed me the phone. It was a screenshot of a text conversation from Chloe, 2 weeks before the birthday dinner. I swear he's like a puppy, so desperate to please. I keep dropping hints, but he just won't leave. Alex is way more fun. Daniel's like wallpaper. My heart sank. Another screenshot followed, this time from Alex. You're not going to back out, right? I already told Mom you and I were hanging out. She thinks it's just friendly. LOL. I handed the phone back slowly. So it wasn't just a drift. It wasn't carelessness. They were coordinating. This was planned. And now it was personal. I thanked Maya. We both knew what this meant. From that moment on, I stopped playing defense. I started planning. The first step was distance. I made it clear to my parents I wasn't attending any family events with Alex. I didn't give details. They just wanted peace. Behind the scenes, I collected pieces. Maya sent more screenshots, messages, even audio clips from old group chats where Chloe mocked me. One was brutal. He's sweet but boring, like I could marry him and fall asleep at my own wedding. She said that while I was planning to propose. I had the ring hidden in my desk drawer, waiting for her birthday to pass, planning for that weekend trip. I returned the ring weeks after our breakup. The jeweler asked if something was wrong with it. Wrong person, I said. The second step involved something I hadn't touched in years, my family's trust. My grandfather left a sizable inheritance split between the grandkids, but not distributed until age 30. Managed by a family-appointed trustee, my uncle. Chloe's obsession with image and money made me wonder. I called my uncle, asked for a breakdown of trust allocations, framing it as financial planning. He was happy to oblige. When I got the document, I saw something that stopped me cold. Each grandchild received an equal portion, except Alex's was bigger by $25,000. I called my uncle again. Hey, quick question. Why does Alex's portion have a boost? A pause. Huh? That doesn't sound right. Let me check. A day later, he called back. You were right. A recalculation was done 2 years ago. Your mother asked me to reallocate based on need and potential. My mouth went dry. She told you I didn't need it. More like Alex needed it more. I thanked him and hung up. Now I knew not just what they did, but how they thought. Alex and Chloe believed I was a stepping stone. Steady, reliable, safe, and disposable. They thought they'd win. But quiet people like me, we listen, we learn, we wait. And when the time is right, we act. I wasn't ready to strike without an irrefutable plan. I wanted impact. So I kept building. The Sense app took off faster than expected. A few finance influencers picked it up. Consistent downloads. A tech blog writer reached out for an interview. I accepted, shared my story, not the breakup, but the inspiration, feeling invisible, tracking every penny to feel in control. People related. Investors circled. I formed an LLC, registered the trademark, and quietly listed everyone who doubted me. Chloe, Alex, even my mom. I wasn't going to gloat. I was going to let the truth speak for itself. The perfect opportunity came when I learned through a mutual friend that Alex was planning to propose to Chloe at our family's lake house. The one still in my name, because my grandfather left it to both of us, 50/50. And I had never signed off on transferring full ownership. They didn't know that. But they were about to. That lake house wasn't just a summer escape. It was a symbol. The one piece of family history untouched by drama, scandal, or lies. And now it was to be the setting for Alex's proposal to my ex-girlfriend, the woman who humiliated me, the same brother who called me wallpaper. They chose my grandfather's house, my house, and they thought I'd do nothing. That was their first mistake. Alex must have assumed I'd moved on. He probably figured the legal stuff around the lake house had sorted itself out. But legally, my name was still on the deed. No renovations without my signature. No bookings, no events. They didn't know I'd quietly updated the ownership files and flagged the property with the county for maintenance concerns, outdated plumbing, and a roof inspection request I'd filed 6 months ago that had finally kicked in. All of it was about to matter because Alex planned the proposal as a surprise getaway. Just Chloe, a private chef, fake rose petals, and one borrowed family heirloom ring, my grandfather's, originally intended for me. That was the second mistake. He didn't even ask. He just took it, told my mom he wanted to honor Grandpa. And she, more invested in optics than outcomes, said yes. She didn't think to ask me. But Maya heard about it. Word gets around, especially when Chloe posts cryptic social media stories like, "Can't wait for this weekend." Ring with champagne emojis. Maya sent me the date, the time, the whole plan. Alex was taking Chloe up Friday night. Proposal scheduled for Saturday evening by the dock. Ring packed. Chef hired. Photographer, an old college friend of Alex, booked. The only thing they didn't account for, me. I waited until Friday morning to make the call. The local maintenance office answered on the third ring. "Hi, this is Daniel Miller. I filed a work order a few months ago for 112, Shady Pines Lane, the lake house." Yeah, I see it here. Plumbing and roof inspection still pending. I need to escalate it. I'm co-owner and the house is being used this weekend without my consent. I believe that's a violation of our co-ownership agreement." A pause. "Would you like us to schedule the inspection?" "Please," I said, "tomorrow. First thing." I hung up and exhaled. I wasn't nervous. I wasn't even angry anymore. I was calm, in control, focused. Then I called the security company. The lake house had basic cameras for motion detection. Alex probably assumed I didn't check them. But I did. That night, I watched from my laptop as his car pulled into the gravel driveway. Chloe stepped out, designer jacket, high heels clicking. Alex followed, a smug grin and a bouquet. They unlocked the door, walked in, disappeared from view. They looked happy, like nothing had ever happened. But tomorrow, they'd remember me. The next morning, I woke early, drove 2 hours north, stopped at a gas station a few miles from the lake house, and parked behind the building. I wasn't going to the house. I just needed to be close enough to feel it. At 8:12 a.m., the maintenance van pulled into the driveway. I watched it on my phone. A minute later, the door opened, and Alex stumbled out in a hoodie and pajama pants, clearly annoyed. Chloe followed, arms crossed. I couldn't hear the conversation, but I could imagine it. The county inspector introduced himself, held up a clipboard, pointed to the roof, then the plumbing hatch, then handed Alex a yellow form. A notice of temporary usage suspension pending inspection results. Translation: they had to leave. No dinner, no rose petals, no proposal, no ring. I sipped my coffee and watched them pace the porch, arguing. The best part? Chloe stormed off first. She got into the car, slammed the door, refused to get out. Alex stood there, helpless, gesturing wildly at the inspector, who had already turned his attention to the roof tiles. By 10 a.m., they were gone. That should have been enough. But the story wasn't done. I still had one more card. On Sunday, I emailed my mother. Subject: regarding the ring. "Hi, Mom. I heard Alex took Grandpa's ring for a proposal. I assume this was a misunderstanding, as the ring was passed to me after Grandpa passed. It's clearly listed in his will. Since it's technically theft, I'd like it returned by the end of the week. Otherwise, I'll be filing a formal report. Hope you understand, Daniel." No emotion, no blame, just facts. She replied 3 hours later. "I had no idea it was left to you. I'll make sure Alex returns it. Please don't escalate." 3 days later, the ring was delivered to my office in a padded envelope. No note, no apology, but it didn't matter. I dropped it off at a jeweler and had it locked in a private safe deposit box for me, for someday, for someone who actually deserved it. And just when I thought it was done, I got a message from an unknown number. It was Chloe. "Was this all you? The lake house, the ring, the email to your mom." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I replied, "I told you once. Thanks for the reminder." That was it. No gloating, no victory lap. Just the same words I'd said the night she humiliated me, now returned with full weight and clarity. I blocked the number and never heard from her again. As for Alex, we haven't spoken since. I heard through a cousin that Chloe dumped him a few weeks later. Told him she wasn't ready for something serious. No one seemed particularly shocked. My mom tried to reach out once or twice with passive-aggressive texts like, "Hope you're doing okay," and "Family is still family." But I didn't respond. Family is earned, not inherited. And the people who stood by and watched me get cut down aren't owed anything from me now. I've rebuilt my life. The app is thriving. I hired a small team, 2 developers, and a part-time content manager. We're launching a new version next month. I started dating again, slowly, intentionally. No more illusions, no more masks. Leo's still here, snoring at the foot of my bed every night. And me? I'm not angry. Not anymore. Because the best revenge isn't rage. It's reinvention. And I've never felt more like myself. I used to think silence was weakness. But now I know silence is power. Especially when it follows your final words. What would you have done if you were in my shoes?